30 miles off Cuba's southwestern coast, a shimmering emerald isle rises from the turquoise Caribbean Sea. Isla de la Juventud, the Isle of Youth, seduces with its pristine beaches, lush forests, and promise of tranquility. But beneath this idyllic facade lies a history stained with suffering, a past haunted by the ghosts of political prisoners. For decades, this island paradise served as a brutal penitentiary, a place where Cuba's dictators silenced dissent within the imposing walls of its infamous prisons. This is the story of Isla de la Juventud's dark secret, a tale woven from the harrowing experiences of those who endured its horrors. Through their testimonies, we will delve into the island's brutal past, exposing the atrocities committed under the dictatorships of Fulgencio Batista and Fidel Castro. Their voices, forever etched in the island's memory, will guide us as we uncover the chilling reality behind the bars of Presidio Modelo, a notorious panopticon that stood as a monument to oppression. This is their story, a testament to human resilience in the face of unimaginable cruelty. In the 1950s, under the iron fist of Fulgencio Batista, Isla de la Juventud transformed into a crucible of repression. Presidio Modelo, a sprawling complex modeled after the infamous Joliet Penitentiary, became a symbol of Batista's brutal regime. Its 5 circular buildings, each with a central watchtower, epitomized the panopticon design, a constant, inescapable surveillance intended to crush the spirits of the incarcerated. Within these walls, political prisoners, students, and anyone deemed a threat to Batista's authority endured horrific conditions. Overcrowding was rampant, sanitation was non-existent, disease festered. The guards, driven by cruelty and indifference, ruled through fear and violence. Beatings were commonplace, torture, a grim reality. The lucky ones found solace in each other, whispering stories of hope and resilience in hushed tones, clinging to the belief that one day, their nightmare would end. But for some, death offered the only escape from Presidio Modelo's suffocating grip. 1. Fidel Castro's revolution triumphed, promising a new era of freedom for the Cuban people. The gates of Presidio Modelo swung open, releasing Batista's political prisoners. Hope blossomed, fragile yet potent, like a flower pushing through concrete. But the hope was short-lived. The revolution, like Saturn devouring its children, soon turned on those who dared question its path. Castro's government, mirroring the brutality of its predecessor, transformed Isla de la Juventud once again into a holding pen for dissenters. Presidio Modelo, once a symbol of Batista's tyranny, became a grim testament to Castro's betrayal. The cells that once housed revolutionaries now confined those who dared criticize the new regime. The island, briefly a beacon of liberation, descended back into darkness. Only the jailers had changed, the suffering continued. The revolutionaries who fought for a free Cuba found themselves labeled as enemies, their ideals deemed dangerous by the new order. Intellectuals, writers, artists, and anyone suspected of counter-revolutionary activities were swept up in the wave of repression, their voices silenced within the walls of Presidio Modelo. The island, once a symbol of hope, became a stark reminder of the revolution's broken promises. Within the walls, hunger, disease, and despair. Life within Presidio Modelo was a relentless assault on the senses, a daily struggle for survival. The prisoners faced an unending barrage of hardships that tested their physical and mental limits. The air hung heavy with the stench of sweat, excrement, and despair. It was a suffocating atmosphere that seemed to crush the spirit of anyone who entered. Overcrowding was suffocating, with dozens of men crammed into cells designed for a fraction of the number. The lack of space made every movement a challenge, every breath a struggle. The tropical heat, relentless and unforgiving, transformed the prison into a furnace. The walls absorbed the sun's rays, radiating heat long after the sun had set. Food, scarce and often rotten, barely sustained life. Meals were a grim reminder of their dire situation, with each bite a gamble against illness. Disease, a constant companion, ravaged weakened bodies. The lack of hygiene and medical care turned minor ailments into life-threatening conditions. Basic medical care was a luxury rarely afforded to the prisoners. Infections festered, and injuries went untreated, leading to unnecessary suffering and death. A simple infection could easily turn fatal. The lack of antibiotics and proper medical attention meant that even the smallest cut could lead to a slow, painful death. The walls, once a symbol of confinement, offered little respite from the elements. They were cracked and crumbling, allowing the outside world to seep in. Rain seeped through cracks, turning the floors into muddy swamps. The dampness bred mold and mildew, adding to the prisoners' misery. During the day, the relentless sun beat down on the prison, turning it into an oven. The heat was inescapable, making every moment a test of endurance. At night, the cold seeped in, chilling the prisoners to the bone. The temperature swings were brutal, leaving them vulnerable to illness. Every day was a battle against the elements, a struggle for the most basic necessities. The prisoners had to fight for every scrap of food, every drop of water. Yet, amidst the deprivation and despair, the human spirit endured. The prisoners found ways to support each other, to share what little they had. Acts of kindness, small but significant, blossomed in the darkness. These moments of compassion were lifelines, offering hope in the bleakest of times. A shared cigarette, a whispered word of encouragement, a stolen glance of solidarity, these became lifelines, reminding the prisoners of their shared humanity. These small gestures were powerful, binding them together in their shared struggle. In the face of unimaginable cruelty, they clung to each other, drawing strength from their collective resilience. Their unity was a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit. The mind as a battlefield psychological torture. Beyond the physical brutality, the Castro regime employed insidious psychological tactics to break the spirit of its prisoners. These methods were designed to erode their sense of self, to make them question their reality and their sanity. Solitary confinement, sometimes lasting for months, drove men to the brink of madness. Isolated from any human contact, prisoners were left alone with their thoughts, which often spiraled into despair and hopelessness. The silence, broken only by the drip of water or the squeak of rats, became an instrument of torture, amplifying every doubt, every fear. The constant, monotonous sounds were a reminder of their entrapment, gnawing at their sanity. Sleep deprivation, a favored tactic, left prisoners disoriented, vulnerable to manipulation. Deprived of rest, their minds became foggy, their ability to resist or even think clearly was severely compromised. The guards, masters of psychological warfare, played mind games, fostering paranoia and distrust among the inmates. They would whisper lies, create false hopes, and pit prisoners against each other. They whispered false promises of release, planted seeds of doubt, and turned men against each other, exploiting their desperation for a shred of hope. This manipulation deepened the prisoners' sense of isolation and betrayal. The constant threat of violence, even when not meted out, hung over the prisoners like a suffocating cloud. The mere possibility of brutality was enough to keep them in a state of perpetual fear. The knowledge that they could be beaten, tortured, or even killed at any moment created a climate of fear and uncertainty that permeated every aspect of their lives. This ever-present dread was a powerful tool of control. Every knock on the cell door, every footstep in the corridor sent shivers down their spines, a stark reminder of their powerlessness. These sounds became symbols of their captivity and the unpredictability of their fate. The psychological torture inflicted on the prisoners of Presidio Modelo left invisible scars, wounds that ran deep, festering long after their release. These mental scars were often more debilitating than any physical injury. The memories of the isolation, the uncertainty, the constant fear continued to haunt them, a dark undercurrent in their lives. Even after their release, the psychological torment they endured remained a shadow over their existence, a testament to the enduring impact of such cruelty. Voices from the Abyss, testimonies of survivors. Through the fog of time, the voices of Presidio Modelo survivors emerge, bearing witness to the horrors endured. These voices, though faint, carry the weight of untold suffering and resilience. Their stories, fragments of a shattered past, paint a chilling portrait of life under Castro's repressive regime. Each photograph, each piece of footage, is a window into a world of unimaginable hardship. The silence was the worst, recalls Raphael, his voice trembling with the echo of long-suppressed trauma. The oppressive quiet of the prison walls seemed to amplify every fear, every moment of despair. It was like being buried alive, every minute an eternity. The relentless ticking of the clock was a cruel reminder of the passage of time, each second stretching into an endless void. Imprisoned for his involvement in student protests, Raphael spent years in solitary confinement, the darkness his only companion. The isolation gnawed at his sanity, the lack of human contact a slow, torturous erosion of his spirit. His story, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, reveals the profound psychological toll of isolation and sensory deprivation. The scars of his imprisonment are not just physical but deeply etched into his psyche. Another survivor, Miguel, bears the physical scars of his imprisonment. His body is a canvas of pain, each scar a story of brutality and survival. "They broke my bones, but they couldn't break my spirit," he states, his voice filled with quiet defiance. His determination is a beacon of hope amidst the darkness of his past. Miguel, a writer accused of counter-revolutionary activities, endured brutal beatings and torture. His words, deemed dangerous by the regime, became his greatest weapon and his greatest curse. His crime? Daring to criticize the government in his writing. The power of his pen was met with the iron fist of repression, yet he continued to write, to resist. Despite the horrors he faced, his spirit remained unbroken, a testament to the power of resistance even in the face of overwhelming adversity. His defiant eyes tell a story of unyielding courage. These testimonies, fragments of a larger narrative of suffering, bring to life the brutal reality of Presidio Modelo. Each account is a piece of a larger mosaic of pain and endurance. They serve as a stark reminder of the human cost of political repression, the enduring legacy of trauma inflicted on those who dared to challenge the Castro regime. The walls of Presidio Modelo may be crumbling, but the stories of its survivors remain, echoing through time.